Guys, and welcome to the 9th tutorial in my PHP backend. And in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can make your project a little bit more secure and modular. So as you can see, I modified my database interface and added a couple of new files in here that I'm going to go through. And the issue we were having previously were that we were having hard-coded credentials to our database in here, which is obviously not a good thing. So previously it looked something like this, where we had our database name and our password in plain text and our username and everything. And I am fully aware that I exposed it to you, but I just used the boilerplate standard stuff in my local DB, and I would of course not display them to you if it's something that was sensitive information, of course. And this is actually the problem we're trying to solve as well, because you can imagine a situation where you push this code to GitHub or your Git repository, whatever that is, and then you have some consultant coming into the code and looking through the code, and they get all your database information and all of that. So you don't want to make that kind of information public, really. So that's the problem that we're going to solve with this implementation that I'm going to show you. So first thing, we use the PHP function called gitignore, which returns an environment variable, and it just takes a text string, which is the key of the variable that we're trying to get. And these are all defined by me in this file, which I call .env. You don't have to call it .env, but this is pretty much a standard that you call it .env, so please keep the convention there. So as you can see, I've defined all my database stuff that I have previously and that I need for my SQLi connection. So you put it in here and make sure you don't have any white space at the end, because that'll mess stuff up. And also no white space in here like this. So everything should be pretty compact and no white space at the end, which is kind of important as well. So in order to make these variables available with gitenv, we have to call another function which is called PutInV, and this will make them globally available throughout the application. And the way I do it is that I have this function called setupEnv, where I read through the env file and line by line, and then I call PutInV with the variable. And I also call trim, because I don't want any white space in there, because that'll mess stuff up. And the one thing with PutInV that's a little bit strange, I think at least, is if you're putting an environment variable in here, it'll look like this. So you would have the whole variable in there. So not just the value, and they're not really separated. It's just a text string that looks like this, keeps the syntax. So that's a little bit strange. And you can of course look this up in the PHP documentation if you get confused about how it works. So you can see here same kind of stuff that I just displayed. So the good thing about this is that we can keep our environment variables separate. So it's not just a security thing really, because if I take my application and I put it on a live server, I might not, or I obviously should not have the same credentials for the database, and could be other environment specific stuff in there that's not the same on a live server that it is on your local computer. It's probably not going to be the same. So this will make it a little bit more modular. And you also want to put the gitignore file on this. And if you're not aware of gitignore, you should Google it. I'm assuming that you're using Git for version management. So basically what a gitignore does, it doesn't include the stuff that I specify in here in the version management. So if I push this repository right now, I would not push this file. So this would not end up on GitHub or Bitbucket or whatever you're using. So that's the basic stuff. We're going to use the gitignore probably for other stuff as well, other than just credentials. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.